Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. Cheerio, here I go on my way. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. Not a cheer, but a cheer, make it gay. Give me a smile I can keep all the while in my heart while I'm away. Till we meet once again, you and I. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. I desperately deny all those horrible allegations towards me from horrible women from decades ago.
Oh, shut up and get on with it. No one cares what you got to say. Go and finish your last song.
Give me a smile I can keep all the while in my heart while I'm away. Till we meet once again, you and I. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye.
Brilliant. Well done, Canny Tanlin. Superb. What a farewell to David Sullivan. Bye, Dave. Bye, Dave. How you doing? Evening, everyone. Welcome to the Bobby Moore Stand. This is a special episode. It always is when we've got the two Andys on. So this is a live version, though, unlike last time. So maybe you get to ask some questions somehow, further down. But the end of probably one of the best weekends for a long, long time, isn't it, Andy? Or Andy? One of you?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Not been bad.
No, it's been all right, hasn't it? I must admit. Surreal, I think I'd call it. Deserved, I'd call it.
Yeah.
Had it coming, that's what I'd call it as well.
Yeah. Very happy.
Yeah. Good. So now we've set the baseline. We are all very happy, right? Going to dive in. Going to go on a bit of a journey tonight. We're going to go back in time and we're going to talk about the journey from when you guys issued Karen Brady and co with the vote of no confidence, which I understand they laughed at, which is who's laughing now, Karen? Right. And then the journey through to where we are now, what's happened over the last couple of weeks. Why did Karen Brady jump? Why did David Sullivan suddenly abandon ship? So we'll all have theories on this, but it'd be good to hear your theories. And then looking forward, we'll talk about Kretinsky, Jack and Dave and their significant involvement and or not. And that's it, I think. I think after that, we'll talk about, we'll end the show on a high and talk about your new campaign, because you're never without a campaign. And it's called Make West Ham United Again.
Correct.
I love the sound of that.
Yeah. By the way, just one quick question. Who's Jack and Dave?
I don't know. A couple of work experience kids who are in the office. Apparently, they've been getting coffee at board meetings.
Oh, I thought it was like a sort of soul tribute. Is that not what it is?
Could be. They might do that. A bit of karaoke. I doubt they could do that either, to be honest. Right. So before we start, there's a lot of thank yous to give out, and I took your guidance on this, Andy, and I think you're absolutely right. Now look, before we start, Ripple Starter / Ripple Effect on Twitter, Ripple Starter UK as it is at the moment. If you haven't thanked her already, go thank her, because she's been, the person that's she's been kind of the eye of the storm from an information perspective. She's been on it for 6 years, far longer than anybody else. And my God, she's worked hard for this, and she deserves every bit of praise she gets. So please go and thank her. But regards to the protest this year, these last, I don't know how many months, there's so many people who've taken part who have led this. So you guys for a start, Andy and Andy, also Mike Field and Paul Colburn has worked night and day trying to get each different protest together, worked himself to death. So, but that speaks for itself. What you guys have done has been outstanding. But every single person who handed out a red card, every person who received a red card and went into the stadium and held it up, everyone who took a black balloon and released it, all of the away fans who sung their hearts out, everyone who signed a petition, everyone who marched, everyone who did the sit-in and the delayed start, everyone who supported the boycott, and everyone who backed us online as well, because there were a few who weren't backing us, right? But if you played one of those roles, then you've got a stake in this success.
It's a lot of people, Gary. There's literally, I'd say, tens of thousands of West Ham fans, and not just West Ham fans, fans from other clubs as well. But I think, yeah, we're very happy, but let's just not get away from this. The seriousness of what is happening here, and the fact that I have to say, the alleged victims and what they've been through is pretty traumatic, and it should never have happened. And let's hope that perpetrators face justice.
That is the one thing that everybody wants, because if you look at the history of that, and it's all going to come out, so many people were just brushed away over the years, just pushed away. So let's hope that justice is served for sure. So let's talk about, look, mission accomplished, first of all, for Hamish United and the FAB, 5 out of 5, a complete scorecard. Perfect. It's like, like when, it was the ice skaters that used to get perfect scores every time. Torval and Dean. Torval and Dean, yeah. That's what, you're the Torval and Dean of the fan advisory board world. Perfection, right? You've delivered the way you've done this strategically and the way you've approached it, playing by the rules. You were just a bit too good for him in the end. But let's go back to August. And August meeting, I think it was it August when you sat down and handed over the vote of no confidence?
Yeah, let's be clear. The fan advisory board, which is made up of 13 different West Ham United supporters groups, agonised really over a vote of no confidence, and then delivered it to the club. And why was it done?
Yeah.
Well, I think because the people who'd been working on that fan advisory board were the latest, bunch of people that had tried to work with the regime at West Ham, now the departed regime at West Ham, and really got absolutely nowhere. We had a season like no other last season, where we had to fight tooth and nail to get the concessions for the old, the young and the disabled restored. Eventually, the club did the right thing, wasting a load of time, frankly, and a load of energy. They eventually did the right thing. And then, of course, we started this season thinking, great, we can actually enjoy our football, put things to one side, and move on and try, as a fan advisory board and as Hamish United, try and do things that will benefit West Ham fans, make their experience better. And we thought, Andy, myself, Paul, others thought, well, great, we've got the season ahead of us. Perhaps not necessarily going to be the way we want things to be done, but, all look good. And of course, we didn't really have a great start to the season. It was inauspicious, tragic, up at Sunderland losing 3-0. Yeah. Before we knew where we were, people that certainly Hamish United members were, almost demanding action be taken. And I think, to be honest, I don't know if Andy would agree with this, we thought it was a little bit previous, but it escalated pretty quickly. And I think it was that sort of years and years of it not working and not working at all for West Ham fans, and just people had enough. And the fan advisory board looked at it and came up with a plan of what West Ham's ownership group should do, and offered it to them, and gave their board a vote of no confidence. It's pretty unprecedented. It still exists at the moment. I think there'll be some discussion about that, given the board changes that were announced yesterday. And I think now, just for viewers' point of view, the board is very slim, and you can go onto the West Ham website, which is, by the way, if anyone's been to the West Ham website recently, you'll notice there's no search function anymore. And you have to wonder why that is. But if you can find it, you can look at the West Ham board, and it's pretty slim in terms of people. It certainly doesn't contain anyone with the name Sullivan. So back in August that was delivered, and it's Tara Warren back then and Karen Brady it seems genuinely puzzled as to why we were, as a group, unhappy with the way West Ham have been carrying on.
Wow.
And I think that kind of just summed it up, really, that they were actually completely puzzled and they didn't understand that we, as fans, as paying fans, as people who put a lot of time into watching our football team, were just absolutely done with the way that the club was being run.
See, that's what
I think it actually speaks volumes, the fact that they were so surprised by it. I mean, that's the sort of thing, given everything that had gone on, back to go back before the ISC days, you can go all the way back, but certainly with the FAB, it's not like that was the first time that it was ever brought to their attention that things had to change. And yet it's the surprise that just baffles you. They should have seen it coming, or even at least, expected it to be coming and then put on the face and try to deal with it. But to be genuinely surprised speaks volumes.
It amazes me. It amazes me. The only thing I can liken it to is that they won a cup, right? They got into Europe a few years running, and they thought they'd cracked the code of getting into Europe, and it was going to be a forever thing, and that was how big the club was now. And weren't they brilliant? Reminds me of what you remember, like back in the 70s when Derby won the league, and then the Derby board thought it was all about them rather than Brian Clough.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. It feels like just utter complacency.
I think complacency is the right word.
Yeah, I think for anybody who was looking at what was actually going on the pitch, it was great. I mean, it's fantastic. Who's not going to want to win a cup? But you could see the decline a season or two before that. So, again, to think that, we've won a European competition and think that's it, we've cracked it. Nowhere near.
But even in that season where we won the trophy, we were in danger of relegation. Yeah. The squad was getting older. Every fan knew the squad was getting older and needed a refresh. And yet they were just going with it.
Yeah, I think also for us, the really, I suppose, stunning thing was that people at West Ham in senior leadership positions, alleged leadership positions, couldn't see that, clubs like Brentford and Brighton and Bournemouth were just moving away and putting, clear blue water between them and us. And when we made that, we specifically mentioned those clubs and Crystal Palace, not in a derisory way, in a comparative way.
Yeah.
And those clubs had a process. They had a way of being run. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't random. And really, it was bloody clear to anyone looking who was present that our leadership team just didn't realise that they'd been overtaken, and they were still thinking that they were amazing, and West Ham was amazing. West Ham is amazing as a football club.
Yeah.
But in terms of where it had got to, it was just out of ideas. It rolled the dice so many times, and occasionally, with the the Europa Conference League, we won it.
Yeah,
completely unbeaten. But bluntly, who are we really playing?
We
if you look now, Chelsea
should have won it. We should have won it. Yeah.
Palace won it this season. Villa should have won it the season after us and screwed it up.
Chelsea won it.
You can never take it away, and a win's a win. But
yeah. It was a great night, but it didn't change anything, really. It didn't change anything. All it done was made the situation worse, I think, because it made them, at the time, I think they were thinking of getting Fulham's manager in and everything else, and that just went, Sullivan being Sullivan, he didn't want to face the wrath of the press, so he kept on with Moyes. And, I mean, look, don't relive history because it's too fucking miserable, to be honest. But what shows more than anything, I think, is what you mentioned last time about they hired a few kind of young executives who were at the club, and they didn't stay very long. That suggests to me they're hiring young people, with ideas, who want to do things and want to make changes, and then they realise 6 months later nothing's ever going to change, and they walk. Yeah,
and I think we, many of us, probably thousands and thousands of us, realise that unless and until Karen Brady and David Sullivan were nothing to do with the football club, nothing could change. and I think that's been proved. We are at our lowest point right now. We've been relegated. We're looking at losing some of our, our so-called better players, and that we could go lower. But I think as of yesterday, there are reasons to be cheerful. I don't know if we're on part 1, 2, or 3, but we're in a better place because at last, renewal can start, and there can be a different approach to the leadership. Yesterday I was at the Football Supporters Association AGM, sitting there minding my own business, and in comes the announcement, and it was amazing. It gives us half a chance. And I think when people say, well, who are you going to sell the club to? Who's going to buy it?
Yeah.
Well, that person already exists. He's called Daniel Krasinski. He's been sitting there for 5 years, assessing piece by piece. He admits himself he needs to understand things. Does he know much about English football? I don't know. I've never met him. I probably never will meet him. Yeah. But he's gradually understood one thing, that David Sullivan is not a person he wants to be in business with. It's pure.
No, I don't expect in any way, shape or form he's been sitting there thinking, right, if I'm going to make a success of this now, we're going to turn it round. How am I going to do it now that Sullivan's gone? What am I going to do? Not in a million years. And I think if he steps up and he does the right things, this could be the turnaround we need. It's such a pity that we had to go down, and on the final day.
Yeah.
But, and other circumstances have all played into this, and we are where we are. But there is the opportunity. And one thing I will say, and I just want to sort of clarify on Andy's point there about what he knows, what Krasinski actually knows, whether it's about football in this country or whether it's about West Ham in particular. But what there is in the shape of the FAB is the perfect resource for him to draw on to get this right.
Yes, there's a lot of knowledge.
Put this club back on the track to where it should have been years ago.
No, absolutely. I totally agree. Look, he is our only way out. We'll sort of come to that afterwards, because there's so many ways that cookie can crumble. So it'd be interested to hear your views on that, as well as Jack and Dave. But let's talk about, a few weeks ago we got like the best news ever. It's now been superseded, but we got the best news ever round 1, right? And that was when Brady decided to jump ship. And we kind of had a hunch why it was, but in hindsight now, why do you think it was? Interested to hear both of your views on this.
Well, you'd have to ask Karen Brady why she decided that she was going to virtually no notice, just abdicate her position at West Ham's lowest point, frankly. She decided that she was going to walk out on our football club. That was her decision. Why would she do it? Well, maybe she just gave up. Maybe she realised she could no longer do the job, something that a lot of us realised a lot earlier.
Yeah.
And maybe she realised also that, things were brewing behind the scenes. Football is about on the pitch most of the time, but the way the club's being run ultimately affects what happens on that pitch. Maybe she realised that, something else was brewing in the background. None of us have seen this piece that the BBC are running. Even now, I'm being told it won't be running tomorrow night on Panorama. I've been told that it's running in a news slot online somewhere. So who knows?
Right. Okay.
What we do know now is that the press have been waiting to break cover on this, and they've broken cover.
Yes.
You'd have to be, frankly, deaf, dumb, and blind, really, to not realise what was going on, and it is now broken. And whether it's right or wrong, the one thing that, if you're accused of something, you should face up to justice. And if David Sullivan is innocent, as he says he is, then I'm sure his day in the court will come, and he'll prove his point, won't he? That he's innocent.
Yeah, it'd be great to get him in court to bring all the evidence out, wouldn't it, Andy?
Just saying. You know what? It is a strange thing, this, because if I look back my time with Hammers United, and it is feels like about 100 years at the moment.
Yeah.
The one thing that we were always trying to do was, well, get the three of them out at the time before, obviously David Gold passed away, but it was to get rid of those two, and that's all we really wanted. Now, he's chosen to step down, and it's all there, what he's put out in his statement, and that's the reason he's gone. Now, we'll take the win, if you like. That's a great outcome for the club.
Yeah.
But on a more serious note, no one really wants it to be true, because on some level, you're wanting that, whatever it is, to have happened.
Yes.
And that's a weird way to be.
It really is. It really is. Yeah. No,
it sort of messes with your head. But as far as the club goes, if I'm able to decouple various aspects of this and just focus purely on the club, it's the best thing that's happened to the club in 16 years, as far as I'm concerned.
Way bigger. And I'll ask you both this question because I know my answer. Would you have taken relegation to get rid of him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Me too.
I would have, yeah.
Reluctantly, yeah. I think this is bigger than a relegation. And let's hope that the likes of Jared Bowen and Thomas Souček, some supporters have got their issues with, but you can't really argue that those two boys have done anything other than put a shift in when they play. Let's just hope that they can stay. They can see a way to stay. And again, same with the manager. Nuno's not everyone's cup of tea, but the bloke stood up and said, I'm going to stay. And, you can see the scene, can't you, with David Sullivan bringing in a Scott Parker or someone like that. And we go round and it's all the games and we're selling so-and-so and possibly buying some other bloke from Burnley that no one's ever heard of who's got an ingrowing toenail. All that kind of stuff. Hopefully now we can have a little bit of stability and, frankly, not sell too many of our really good players, or certainly the ones that want to stay, and have a real crack at that league. You talk to Wolves fans and you talk to Nottingham Forest fans, and they'll tell you how much they love Nuno Espirito Santo. I think any fan base is always going to be, split on managers. Go to Arsenal a few years ago, and it was either Wenger in or Wenger out, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Do you think that it's like one chance? We've got one chance to go up. Otherwise, stuff gets a bit.
I think so. I think there's always it's never ever quite as binary as that. But I think West Ham have to go back. I think what happened yesterday, we'll see a load more season tickets being renewed. I think there'll be people coming back to West Ham. I think that's real. I think the club will see it. I do believe that the regime leading the club now, certainly off the pitch, are genuine people who want to do a good job, and I think they can see the opportunity. I'll never say West Ham's a massive club because there's no such thing, but we've got a deep fan base, and I think we've got a fan base that does want to get behind its players. And I only, for me, the only way is up now. It really is.
Just a question here from Adam over at Dad's Job. Is DS leaving better than winning Conference League? For me, it's like 5 times better.
I think there's a flip side to all of this, right? Imagine we'd have stayed up. Spurs lost 90th minute. We stay up, right?
Yeah.
And none of this stuff has happened, and Sullivan's still at the helm. Yeah. Then you're left with, literally a binary choice. Go down as we are, and he's gone.
Yeah.
Or we stay up with him in charge. My God, that's unthinkable for me.
Yeah. We're going to come to this as well. A little comment from Polo Bastion 14. Sullivan Jr. could be here for the next 50 years. Yeah, he could be. He might get a season ticket, I was saying, yeah?
He could be. I mean, I think it's completely irrelevant, frankly.
Yeah.
I don't know what either of the Sullivan boys bring to the party at all. I don't know them. I never will know them. I watched that documentary about the women's team, and it was farcical. It was actually
embarrassing.
Embarrassing, and summed up for me the disrespect shown.
Yeah.
Right. And that bleeds into other areas which are serious.
Yes.
I don't want stuff like that to do with our football club. I just don't want that kind of attitude.
That sleaze. You don't want that
Yeah.
sleaze, that layer of sleaze over our club.
That entitlement of,
Yeah.
I'll just put some kid in charge
Yeah.
of this team because it doesn't really matter, does it?
No,
Yeah,
no.
if you go and look at what Arsenal and Chelsea have done with their women's team, they are night and day ahead of West Ham United. They are building their especially Arsenal. They're building their fan base, deep because of the women's team as much as the men's team. It just shows you the contempt that Cameron Brady and David Sullivan had for the women's team. The contempt to not even want the women's team to be part of our football club until suddenly it suited them, and then we want it back. And then if you don't give it back, we'll sue you because you can't use West Ham United. It's like, I'm sorry.
The way I saw that was it was just it was an apprenticeship. He could go in there and break what he liked. The kid, go and learn your trade over there. There's a bunch of young girls, you'll like it. And then you can make a little TV show about it as well. Absolutely pathetic. No professionalism at all. And it's stuff like that that's just made us look cheap and shit, in my opinion, over the last couple of years.
I don't think that sort of thing would have flown sort of 30 years ago, to be fair. Fair. It's all part of that thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was disrespectful to the women as well, right? So it is what it is. I mean, it just showed, thank you, Steve-O. Appreciate that. Usually comes with questions, Steve-O. Let us know what your question was. Right. So yeah, look, that's ridiculous. And what you said about Arsenal and Chelsea as well, that's actually grown into significant revenue streams for them, hasn't it? The women's football. That's an opportunity missed.
But it builds your fan base. It builds across families. Yeah. And it builds for the future. And West Ham, West Ham need to pay attention to respecting the fan base, building that fan base. And that's where your success will come from. People like David Sullivan and Cameron Brady, they don't understand what the value of the supporters is. It's just there to be ripped off, exploited, and squeezed. And frankly, they never deserved West Ham United supporters. They don't deserve anyone who pays to go and see their football team. And now they're somewhere else. Good riddance.
Yes. 100%. Yeah. No better statement. So that is, so I don't know whether that's going to happen. What you just said, Panorama is going to go online tomorrow or something. But honestly, the BBC is just a part of it, right? There's 4 different outlets working together on this. The flow has already started. The flow will continue tomorrow. They're not all on the same topic either. No. Right? There's different streams. All right, because there's a lot in that world that needs to be exposed. So
when I heard Sullivan talking about I'm going to sue the BBC, it just reminded me of Donald Trump. Sort of like, I'm going to, just going to do this. I'm suing you.
Yeah,
we've had enough of the lies, the bullshit. Mate. Tell you what, I don't care what you're going to do. You're not doing anything for West Ham anymore at last.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, where are we going next? I mean, let's talk about the current situation. We can come back to like a few questions afterwards because that's when we can get a little bit interesting, I think. But let's. There's a number of comments coming from Garino there about shareholding and what Kretinsky can do and everything else. But I just want to start from a clean slate here about what we know. And what we kind of know is that David Sullivan and Kretinsky, we think, increased the shareholding to 40% each. Did we get confirmation that actually happened, Andy?
I don't think so. I know it was the intention, the public intention. Yeah. I think you've got to look at what's happened, what will happen, and what may happen. I think you can see, if you look at the shareholders, you've got an incredibly wealthy billionaire, you've got a pretend billionaire, you've got someone else who we don't know as a US guy, Trips Smith. We don't really know much about him, and then there's a few bits and pieces, rats and mice around the corner, but there's Gold family. Now we know with the Gold family that their business empire is probably a little bit challenged.
Yeah.
If you look at Companies House and see the results of Ann Summers' recent financial results,
yeah.
Why would Vanessa Gold, who's lost a father, lost a sister, why would she put any faith in voting alongside David Sullivan? Her job now is to ensure that the family's shares in West Ham, such as they will be as valuable as possible. And in order for that to happen, she can't do much about that. So she has to rely on the business doing better.
Yeah.
And what on earth, why would she rely on David Sullivan, who's all the evidence has, sort of suggested that he isn't very good at this stuff? Why would she do that? Why would she not fall in behind Kretinsky? And I think it's quite significant that she is still a joint chairman. I don't think she'll be changing. I think that stays.
Yeah.
But I think the assumption that the Golds and the Sullivans always worked and voted together, I think those days are over. I think everything's changed. Vanessa Gold, again, never met her, probably never will meet her. She's not a dad. She's got her own views. So I think that the power of David Sullivan is being eroded. And it's not happened just yesterday. This has been going on for a while. And I think West Ham fans should like to see his power base erode even further. At some stage, there might be a rights issue. Money will have to go into the club. That's a fact.
Yeah.
And, again, where's the evidence for Sullivan putting any money in? He's only ever put 15 million over 16 years into this football club. Many, many West Ham fans are good friends of mine believe the bullshit that, he's put his own money into transfers. The money's come from the TV money. They recycle that like most clubs do. There's been no net input from Sullivan or Gold for a very long time. In fact, if anything, it's the other way around. Kretinsky's actually put money in their pocket to buy shares and made them richer.
Yeah.
And not much of that cash that's real that Kretinsky's put in has gone to West Ham. It's gone to David Sullivan and David Gold.
I have a question for you in a minute, but I need to cover something first, right? And that is Christian Eriksen. It looks like he's collapsed on the pitch again.
Oh, no.
The game's been suspended. No news on Eriksen just yet, but it starts coming in. That he's conscious and doing well. So bloody hell, I think he's going to have to give up football, isn't he?
What a player. One of the very few positives when Spurs, I think there's parallels between Tottenham Hotspur and West Ham United.
Yeah.
Not least, they had a star player called Gareth Bale, and they sold him for a lot of money and squandered every single penny of it, except the one player that what they did buy that was great was Christian Eriksen.
Yeah.
And West Ham had a player called Declan Rice and squandered pretty much all that money on players. And it's difficult. Look, I've said before, so I'll say it again every time. Difficult to run a football club. You're dealing with all kinds of different moving parts. Not easy. So I don't actually criticise owners of football clubs because it is difficult. But it's that difficult. Hire professionals, get people in, get a structure, make the business work as best you can. And as owners, if your people you hire can't do the work properly, then you hire other people. You replace them and hire them.
And that's what people were slagging off Daniel Levy online. But look at what he's left behind. Look at that stadium. Look at the I mean, he hasn't been successful in terms of signing players. It's been bloody ridiculous, actually. But he ain't hung around. He's replaced managers. He's tried to do it, and he's put he's put other people's money into it. And he's not there anymore. But what he achieved and what he left behind there, I think, is slightly different to what David Sullivan's leaving behind here, right?
Well, both clubs have won a European trophy recently.
Yeah,
and I think you could, you probably, if you're sort of drawing straws, so well, at least Tottenham have got their own stadium. It's a football stadium.
Yeah,
and West Ham haven't. And we're lumbered with the Olympic Stadium, whether we like it or not. The only way to change it is to own it, and the only way you can own it, if a deal can be done, is to have the money to buy it. And then if you're going to buy it and you want to change it, you have to have the money to change it. Nothing is impossible on this planet. Nothing is impossible. Use the words impossible very carefully. But you have to have a plan, you have to have the money, you have to have the resources, you have to have the will. And let's face it, the one thing we know with David Sullivan, he had none of that. No intention whatsoever of changing anything to do with that football stadium. It was like an opportunistic. He took it with Brady. They negotiated a very good deal for them, and it's been appalling for us. Now with Kretinsky, there may be an opportunity to buy the stadium, to own it, and to change it. But we'll see. I mean, the squad cost rules that we are going to be subject to do allow unlimited spending on infrastructure, and the stadium is infrastructure. We've got a lot of soul searching to do with being able to clear our debts, but at the end of the day, that's why the likes of Kretinsky will have to put money into the business to keep the business solvent.
One thing they could do right up front, though, is make this a place where West Ham fans want to come back to.
Yes.
I mean, I'm seeing various posts. I don't know where the info's coming from, saying that there's 30,000 season ticket renewals in this other. Is it coming out of the ticket office? I don't know. But what would we supposed to have had when it 50,000 seasons? There's 20,000 that haven't renewed, and so on and so forth. It's academic. There's so many people that have walked away. Start with the fans. Get the fans back into the stadium. Give them a reason to come back, a compelling reason to come back in and get behind the team they all love. That's got to be the starting point. And from there, that might actually give them the impetus and the reasons to want to try to improve that stadium, whether it is knocking it all down and starting again or putting in the stadium, all the different things they could do. But you've got to get the fans back. That's the crucial thing. And now more than ever is the opportunity, even though we've gone down, to make that start happening.
So to do that, to get fans who've walked away, the ones who didn't even make the transition over to the new stadium because either they hate it, had no intention, or they hated the board for what they did, whatever else. I think the common denominator here is the spectre, the black cloud that's been over this club since the move, with Brady, Sullivan, and Gold formerly, but now we've got several Sullivans, right? And not only that, the media narrative doesn't stop. And I've got a question about this in a minute, Andy, but we've got Jack and Dave Sullivan. For me, the sooner they move out, the better. We've got David Sullivan with owning, 40% of the shares or whatever it is, maybe 37 still. But nonetheless, people see that and they say, oh, he's still the majority shareholder. There was a lot of, there was an article I saw today on one of the websites that came out and said, Sullivan might choose to come back, right? So again, tell me your view on this, from the point of how a board works. Yeah.
I mean, Sullivan might choose to come back. I mean, there's so much wrong with that statement. I don't know where to start. All credibility has been lost. Sullivan will now need to go and live the rest of his life and do the best he can. In terms of the way the business is structured, there will be a board of directors, and they don't have to be shareholders, but they can be. So on the board of directors currently is our interim CEO, Karim Varane. He's not a shareholder, okay, but he's a director. He'll have a vote. That people will have votes. Generally, with boards, you want to get a consensus. You want to get a majority. You don't generally want to have votes, because as soon as you start having votes and you start exercising your power, you can start to break up, the dynamic of the board. The board is slim in numbers. It's Daniel Kretinsky, it's Vanessa Gold, it's Karim Varane, it's Trip Smith. And I think there's, I forget the fella's name, Harris, I think he is. There's board directors there. Now, Andy Mollett is still listed as a board director. Now, Andy's the CFO of the business. He was hired by Brady. Don't hold that against him, because he's a very capable person.
Yeah.
And he is retiring, or certainly expressed the intention to retire. Andy has no equity in the business, but he's a board director at the moment. Kretinsky is an accountant by trade. Andy Mollett is an accountant by trade. In a business, one of the most important things to get right is the finances. So you can expect Kretinsky to be all over that. He's been there for 5 years. You obviously got to get your sales right. You've got to get your product right. And I think West Ham will need to pay attention to that. Obviously, in football, it's to do with results. But that board at the moment, as it stands, is pretty tight. David Sullivan's nowhere near it. So exactly how is he going to come back to do what exactly?
Well, I think there's a really bad understanding of how boards work, right? And that is, he's got 40% of shares, so therefore he's got 40% of the say. But unless he's got a role on the board, he doesn't, does he?
Well, it does depend, but he has got rights as a equity owner, but he's not there. So he's got no say whatsoever. And people who think that somehow Jack and David Sullivan Jr. are going to do his bidding for him, it's fanciful. It's nonsense. They're finished. They're gone. All right. It's like the Monty Python parrot sketch.
Yeah.
Done. Finished. All right.
So if they want to make a new revenue stream, right, this would be interesting. They could sell tickets. They'd sell out that stadium if you have Kretinsky versus Jack and Dave on a table in the middle of the pitch. Right. It'd be great entertainment, let me tell you.
Yeah. Look, and also I don't think that Sullivan Jr., both of them, take any money out of the club. I don't think they've got a paid role. I have no idea how they were allowed to be directors, but I would assume that was pre-Kretinsky, in terms of like putting those guys on the board. But I don't understand what qualifications they've got. Clearly very little. And, age should never be a barrier, of course. But seriously? No, come on, people. They're finished. It's history. Don't even waste your breath on them.
It's people grasping at straws, but these come out of news websites, that just fill the news feed up with nonsense and people start believing it. But there is nothing to believe there.
It's almost the obvious story to go with, isn't it? Because it'll definitely get people looking at it. But I mean, you've got to ask yourself, what's in it for them? If any of this was even remotely true, what's in it for them? I mean, unfortunately, everything that's gone on in the last 16 years and all the campaigns and everything else, that's left a lot of stones and a lot of dirty footprints all over the place. And unfortunately, some of that stuff's on them as well. Not for necessarily what they've done, but for what their dad's done. I mean, he really has fucked the dog with this club. Not to put too fine a point on it.
Yes.
Okay. Why would you even want to consider coming back? And if, look, Andy knows a hell of a lot more about this stuff than myself, but if Kretinsky now in that boardroom is the main person, and as I've kind of said, I think I said last time when we was on, I said earlier on this show, he must have an idea of who he wants and what their skill sets are to make this. I mean, I can't imagine his plan is to make this club more of a failure than it's already been. It must be to turn it around and drive it forward. So he must have a checklist of competent people. I don't imagine they're on that checklist. So as much as they might want to come back in, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yes.
And if it were to happen, then forget about the fan base, because that would be the ultimate poke in the eye to the fan base if that happened.
It really would. Let's go back. Let's talk about nice stuff, right? Let's talk about nice things, the future and what we expect. So number one, what you just mentioned, Andy, about attracting old fans back, right? So how do we do that? What do we need to offer them to bring them back? Well,
if it were me, the first thing I would do is sit down with the FAB and have a really honest conversation. Not trying to brush over and paper over cracks or any of that stuff. Just have a really honest review of what went on in the last 16 years, last 5 years, whatever it is. We all know the things that we're talking about. Just have a proper honest review of it. And if they can express an intention that they see the relevance of fans and the need to have fans in that ground and how important fans are, as I said earlier, they have the perfect resource on which to draw.
Yeah.
And then from a campaign point of view, for want of a better expression, that's a nice campaign to be involved in. Try and get people back. Now, I know there's going to be people out there after the move who made their decision, never going to go back, never going to go in there, come hell or high water. It's been, 10 years now or whatever it is that we've been over there. Some of that might have mellowed, you never know. Some of it might have mellowed, some of it may not have. But if there's a chance, then that's a campaign I want to get stuck into. because I'd love to see all those old faces back.
The march was fantastic. Let me tell you, the people there. I mean, it was just brought back so many memories. It was just a different crowd, wasn't it? It was a different crowd. It was a mixture of some who were in the stadium, but it was a mixture of so many who used to be in the stadium as well.
For the number of people who said at the end of it, not just this one, when we done the stroll and everything else, felt like a West Ham fan again. That's what it felt like. Right? If you can harness that emotion and do something with it and give people a reason just to go back in there, that's the starting point.
Yeah, and I think it's also, you know, without getting kind of teary-eyed about it, it's community. You know, it's social good. It's like, our pubs have gone. Yeah, our match day routines have gone. Some of our mates have died, you know, and all of that. But there's still a lot of us, and there's still a lot of youngsters, and there's still generational opportunities here.
Yeah.
Do it. West Ham, I would actually argue, you're not going to believe this, but I'd actually argue West Ham haven't done a bad job of making tickets pretty affordable over the, you know, the new stadium. It's no longer new stadium, the stadium. So I think that glimmer is there, but it's, you know, if Karen Brady and David Sullivan had ever had the humility to say, we're very sorry, we got this wrong.
Yeah.
Right. I think a lot of this would have been, you know, would have been a bit moot, frankly. They never were, because they don't understand humility. They can't possibly, narcissists can't possibly ever, you know, accept that they might get something wrong.
Yeah.
But I do think there is a big opportunity. And it's like, the pubs that aren't there. Yeah, the place is not ideal when we're walking through a shopping centre. But if your mates are there and you can get back to going to football, it is a big thing for your mental health. It's a big thing for your identity. It's a big thing for your life. Really? And do you know what we always used to say at West Ham, and it's not just West Ham fans, everywhere, you know, football got in the way of having a beer with your mates on a Saturday. Yeah. And you know, the football got in the way. Before the game, we never talk about it. After the game, we go, oh, you know, we got turned over by the referee or whatever it may be. Yeah. But football was bigger than what's on the pitch. It was bigger than that, and it still is bigger than that. And I think if we can get that realisation back, we want West Ham to win football matches, of course we do, but we also want to be with our mates. And I think West Ham fans, everybody, as you said, Gary, you blew a balloon up, who, you know, took a red card, gave out a red card, signed petitions, you know, tweeted this, that, and the other, and put on Facebook and Instagram, and, you know, did TikTok videos, all of that. Yeah. You know, what we've achieved in terms of, you know, fan activity, activism, has been amazing. And I would say it's West Ham. It's typical West Ham, what we've done here.
Yeah.
And, you know, some youngsters won't understand what I mean by that. But those who know. Because, as I said at this conference yesterday, you know, we get up in the morning earlier than anybody else, and we stay later than anybody else. So if you want to live with us, you better have a pretty good game, right?
Yeah.
And I believe that the leadership now at the football club are prepared to get up early in the morning and stay late to make it West Ham again, and to unite the club. I really do believe that. It's not fanciful. No. And I don't believe that our ex-CEO did that. Don't think she was there. I think she took her eye off the ball a long time ago, you know, being the apprentice something or other, or walking at the House of Lords, whatever it may be. She just wasn't leading, and it showed, right? And there is, you know, the most of the people who work at West Ham United are good people.
Yes.
And unfortunately, with the relegation, some of them lose their jobs. Mortgages won't be met. Families won't get Christmas presents, and so on, because that's the harsh reality of relegation from the Premier League into the Championship in terms of the revenue. Serious stuff.
26 people let go.
Yeah, at least David Sullivan and Karen Brady will waltz off into the future on their yachts and you know, houses in Kensington and all the rest of it. They don't suffer like the people who are losing their jobs do. And so I think, you know, this is real, and it's on us, all of us, to realise we're not here on this planet long, and we should look after each other and mean something. I think the last day's been exhausting, because it's like it's almost the first peak that we've climbed, and we've gone, bloody hell, we've done it. You know, we've done it against all the odds. It was very clear, no more BS.
Yes.
Full stop. Done.
Achieved.
Done.
There is no more BS now.
Not now. Not now.
It's a beautiful thing. So I'm going to come to some questions in a minute. And there's one especially that I want to run past you to just wind you up a little bit to start with. You enjoy that. But before I do that, Steve, welcome, a new member. Welcome aboard. Big ship membership. Right. So there's one. Hang on a minute. Where's he gone? It's a beautiful thing. It's around. Garino said it, and it was around some guy on X. Here we are. Defending Sullivan, talking about how the value of the club has increased by 1,000%.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. I think whoever's running the Hammers United Twitter feed today, it wasn't me. Pick the fella up on that. It's, I mean, beautiful. I think big geezer with a big beard from what I could see. Good beard, nice. You wonder. I mean, sometimes you just think to yourself, increase the value. Come again. Just run that past me. Something about a balance sheet being strong. Last time I checked, right, which is May 31st, 2025, the balance sheet was not so strong. And given that we haven't seen the results for May up to the May 31st, 2026, but we believe somewhere in the region of 50 to 75 million loss, boy, that balance sheet's not going to be strong. So either this fella, or if he's not, whoever he is, can't read accounts, or he's maybe he's actually got maybe he's a Sullivan somewhere. I don't know.
Right.
But don't talk to me about value and how David Sullivan's increased the value.
I thought Brady must have written that tweet. I'm just saying.
Well, that would be 1,400 words.
True. Yeah. And she would have mentioned European trophy a few times, wouldn't she?
More than a few times, yeah.
So just one more thing before we move on. I just sort of spotted this. So Leslie Barden just lost your daughter. So, condolences. Didn't know. I missed that earlier. The comments have been going, been flying past, but that's awful. I don't know the story behind it, but I hope you're all okay. Best wishes to your family.
I would just like to say, Ripple UK, Ripple Starter, the account on Twitter.
Yes.
Who I've spoken to, and that when I first spoke to that person, joint chairman, but listening to what that person told me back end of last year was traumatic, and I'll never forget it. So this is serious stuff. Forget West Ham being relegated. Forget Lopetegui being hired, and forget Potter and all this stuff. That's just gravy. That's nothing. But when you're talking about this is serious stuff.
Exactly. It's more important than football. I said this on the show last night. This is lives, and I've had exactly the same experience. Listening and reading through this stuff. It ain't good. No. And people do stuff like that. They really should pay for it. Money should not let them exempt themselves from facing justice.
Well, I think the key thing is face justice. And if you have your day or days in court and you're found not guilty, fair play.
Exactly.
But don't stop people. Don't stop that process and pull every stunt under the sun to do that, because that's wrong.
Yeah.
And let's face it, anyone watching this show, the three of us, we couldn't do that. We don't have the facility to be able to pay people to stop us from, stop being pursued by the law. Anyone watching this show hasn't got that ability. So
no, it shouldn't exist. It shouldn't exist. Having that ability to cover your tracks and pay for things to go away, it should not exist. It shouldn't matter how wealthy you are. Do shit like that, you should face what's coming. Yeah. So a few comments, Andy. What we're going to do, we're going to end on the future, right? Once we get past these comments, we're going to go make West Ham United again. I'm so glad you ditched that great again thing, right? So Michael Taylor, 1797. The protest against Sullivan put the fans in a good light with the media and in general public, who will now this has come out. So what do you mean put the fans in a good light with the media? I don't really. Is that the question?
I would say that Michael might be alluding to the fact that the protests were legal. People laughed at us for, you know, you're not being strong enough and all the rest of it. And that's up to them. You know, that's people. Everyone's got their right to their opinion. But we were clear about it needed to be legal. It needed to be respectful, and it needed to be consistent. And boy, was it consistent. And the amount of effort the organisers and all the helpers put in was, I mean, it was ball breaking, frankly. But
it was relentless, wasn't it? It wasn't just on the days of the game. It was, you know, it's everything that's going on. And on the day of a game when you're doing the process, that's when you see the fruits of your labour, so to speak.
Yes.
So it was relentless. But you know, look, as I said earlier on, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. It was in this show or the last time I was on with you, but you know, none of us actually want to do it or want to have to do that sort of thing.
No,
genuinely mean it, right? But as I said earlier, if there's a campaign about trying to get a lot of the older fans back who walked away and all the rest of it, that's a good campaign. That's something we want to get involved with. But what we've had for the last half a dozen years has been, as far as I'm concerned, an absolute necessity. And it's been hard. It's been good fun at times. It's been excellent. I met a lot of good people, got some fantastic memories, but it's been hard, really, really hard. So, you know,
well,
I just want to see in the next year, the next couple of years, that everything turns the corner and it gets back to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And the campaigning aspects of that, from a fans group's point of view, is the good campaigns. Because that's all the ships sailing in the same direction. If you
welcome back, West Ham fans. Welcome back, new, old, you know, young, and welcome new fans over as well. Just welcome. Let's get it going. Let's get the atmosphere in the ground moving. Let's get let's get plenty of singing. Let's get a family area that we want sorted out. Let's just get
safe standing.
Well,
bring the old badge back.
Yeah, we haven't got time. I mean, the safe standing is going to be a hot topic, but not for tonight. Getting it back and being positive, and use all the principles that we've used. Yesterday was amazing for a number of reasons, but not least because there are serious journalists, you know, sending messages going, you lot have been exemplary in the way we tried to hate you.
Yeah.
Couldn't. you killed us with love and kindness. But the thing is, you know, it's like, had we started lobbing fire bombs and all that stuff, you can't do it.
It would not have worked.
No. You know, I know there's plenty of people who wanted tennis balls on the pitch and all the rest of it. And, you know, perhaps we should have done tennis balls. But look, we got there in the end. And you know, in the end, you can't tell people what to do. And West Ham fans are never going to be told what to do. All you can do is lay it out. We were having a laugh because there are no more BS red cards.
Yeah.
Our collector's items. We gave out 250,000 over the season. Have we got any left in stock? No, we ain't got any. We were talking to Dave saying, has anyone got any of these cards? Because they're now going to be museum pieces.
They're going to be up on eBay for 50 quid each.
That's right.
The museum that we still don't have, but I'm pretty confident with this new regime, we'll get something, you know. There were plans in tow and nothing had actually happened, but I do think we'll get a museum. And I know we don't, the football club don't own much of their ephemera anymore, their memorabilia. They own something. So
did they sell all that stuff? Did they sell all the medals?
No, they've still got the medals. But, I mean, look, the medals are extremely valuable, you know, unique pieces. Sticking them on a wall at the London Stadium is probably not the right thing to do.
No.
But owning them and then having, you know, perhaps replicas up for people to see when you say, by the way, we own the real one.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing. I mean, West Ham, they need collectively to realise that if you don't know where you came from, you'll never know where you're going to go. And I think that's the message we've tried to put into the leaders at West Ham. Those leaders largely have gone now because they were never leaders anyway. You know, we got You know, I mean, it's quite a lot of people who've left. Some of them really good, and they'll be missed.
Yeah.
But the big ones definitely not. You know, I mean, it's, you know, when you got the equivalent of sort of Dave Swindlehurst running your as a CEO, you think to yourself, well, I think we could do better than this. So yeah, look, I really think the good times are ahead. And do you know what? They might be that we're even worse. We might go down next season, but we'll be West Ham. We'll have a.
Don't say that, Andy. Don't say that. Yeah.
Well, listen, this is our 6th relegation that we've had to put up with. And it's the one I've been less bothered about, maybe because I'm older. I mean, I cried my eyes out in '78 when we got beaten by Liverpool and went down. But look, let's get that stadium full up with people. Let's get them football players to know who they're playing for. Let's make them, you know, let's make West Ham United again. Let's just do it. It's in our power, all of us. Everyone watching, everyone from everywhere, from all around the world, we're going to make this football club what it is. And it is West Ham. We're not Arsenal. We're not Chelsea. You know, we're not Liverpool, we're not Man United. We're West Ham United. And it's a special club with special people.
Yes. And we've been West Ham divided for several years now, right? Several years.
Well, I think that's because the regime, again, that's gone, loved to pit fans against each other. I'll tell you what you're going to have under Kretinsky. One thing's for sure. He's not going to be telling people left, right and centre what he's going to be doing. We aren't going to find out way in advance that we're not signing David Beckham. Yeah. We're not having any of that nonsense. He will just keep it quiet. And the new CEO has said, I don't want a leaking ship. You know, it's just not going to happen. It's not in anyone's interest to reveal to the opposition, to the enemy, the other clubs, what you're going to do. Stupidity on a grand scale. Stop being stupid, West Ham. Start being smart. And hopefully we'll find out about signings and we'll find out about big strategic things when they're actually going to happen, not when it's some fanciful, you know, sort of Boris Johnson style. What we're going to be is really well beaten and great. It's like, just run me through how we're going to do that. Oh, you don't have a policy. Ah, right. Yeah. And you know, we all lap up hope, don't we? We all want it to be great, but let's get the policies in place to be great. Because you know, look at Brentford, look at Brighton, look at Bournemouth. They quietly get on with it. Yeah. You know, at the moment it's amusing because you know, that Van Ecker is Spurs have had their second bid for Van Ecker from Brighton turned down. You can just know what Brighton are going to get 56 million.
Of course they will. Of course they will.
And Tottenham will pay it and everyone will be happy. You know, when was the last time we did that? We don't. We leak everything. And most of the time it's bullshit. It's got to stop and it will stop.
Good. So, look, I'm upbeat for this summer. I won't share it with everyone else, but I shared it with you last week what my best summer would look like. And step one was getting rid of David Sullivan. That's been achieved. It's a good sign for my plan, right? Now, I'm going to ask both of you to just respond once I've read the next message out. I want you to tell me realistically what you want from this summer going into next season. So before I do that, this is Claire, our amazing moderator, that is. My parents met at Upton Park, and seeing the smile on my 8-year-old dad's face yesterday when I told him Sullivan had resigned meant so much to me.
That's it. That's all that matters.
Beautiful. Yeah. So tell me, what do you want from this summer, from now till next season?
I think for me, I'd like it to be not so much about who we're signing, who we're not selling. I'd like to see there being a bit of loyalty from the footballers. Not all of them, because I don't think all of them would show loyalty, let alone deserve any. Yeah. They know who they are. But I'd like to see some of the footballers show some loyalty to the football club. I'll say something controversial here, because I know that Mark Noble's not everyone's cup of tea. I'd like to see Mark Noble come back to the club and stand up and say, you know, we are no longer run like a circus, and he can mean it this time. And I'd like to see Mark Noble. I think, you know, what's happened in the youth side of the club has been outstanding, and long may that continue. And I think Noble has to take some credit for that. So I'd like to see some of those things happen. I would like to see, you know, the work that's done by the Foundry not be discarded because of money and lack of funding. I would like to see, you know, more of the same in terms of going forward. with smaller but sure steps and rebuilding the football club. I don't think it's going to take too much. We didn't have a bad team. We didn't have a great team, but we didn't have a bad team. And I think if we can keep some key players, I like to see Mavropanos, stay. Yeah. Because I think he'll relish a leadership role in the championship. We've got to be realistic about people like Fernandez and Somerville, but obviously I'd love to see Jared Bowen stay. I'd love to see Thomas Souček stay. Not because Thomas Souček's a great player, but he knows more about being West Ham, from Prague than quite a lot of people know about being West Ham from the Manor.
100%. Totally agree.
Look, in 1978, Andy mentioned it earlier on, I was there when we went down. As I recall it, we all sung bubbles, we all stayed behind, the team came out and everyone applauded everyone, and we went home and we thought, right, we'll all be back next season. And what happened was, I think the majority, if not all, of those players stayed. And Brooklyn was at the peak of his powers, and he was in the England side. He didn't go anywhere. Now, no, we're in a different world. So we're not going to be able to keep all the players we want to keep. But if we can keep a couple of the talisman players, like Bowen, and like Mavropanos and Souček,
others will stay,
that's
right?
a big
Others will
statement.
stay. Yeah.
Well, yeah, quite possibly. But what it will do, and this, I guess, is the next bit, it will attract, if we've got the money to buy him, because I don't know what's going to go on with the finances, but it ought to attract the right players who can see it as a club that's serious about wanting to get back up. So I'd like to see that. I'd also like to see a plan, and I'd also like to see a summer without a load of bullshit stories in the media and bidding 10 million quid for a player who's worth 50 and then saying we tried. Just tell me that, the right people have picked the right players and we've got them on and they're not injured. They're ready to start playing, right? And we get a decent side together and then we all move forward, right? Fantastic. That's what I would like to see for this summer. I don't think I'm being unreasonable, by the way.
No,
that's not an unreasonable expectation.
I'll just finish with my dream summer. Now, step 1 done. Step 2, Kretinsky takes total control. Step 3, England win the World Cup. God's sake, win the World Cup. Step 4, we go into the season with a fantastic team that's going to walk the championship. And then the rest is history. But I'm going to finish on this one thing, and that is Turbo Dave. Lad bloke who I met over at the March for the first time. Didn't shut up. He's suggesting we get a leaving card for David Sullivan based on the BS out. Great use. Let's send him a leaving card.
Could you imagine the weight of that card once everyone signed it?
You imagine the comments in it. Brilliant.
You imagine the Royal Mail owned by Daniel Kretinsky delivering it.
Oh, well.
Nice.
Get a bargain.
Nice.
Yeah. But anyway, look, thank you both for joining us. It's been brilliant again, Andy and Andy. When you're heading off to the States, Andy Payne?
What going to watch England not win the World Cup?
Yeah, win the World Cup.
I'm going a week tomorrow, so Monday the whatever it is, 15th or something. And
brilliant.
Yeah, interesting. I was looking at my schedule today, and of course, suddenly it dawns on you there's quite a lot of different time zones to go through. And we were just going through, and I think, hang on a minute, that game isn't on the 3rd of July, it's on the 2nd, because all the timings, when you look at them over here, are for UK times. And of course, if the kickoff is late over in Mexico, it moves into a different day. Right? So, a little bit of jiggery pokery today, which gave me the stress that I didn't need. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. There'll be some West Ham people that I know will be out there, and plenty of others. And the heat, something will go wrong. It's England. Let's face it, it'll be Spain or France or Portugal or someone like that, or Brazil.
Yeah, we're going to win it. I can feel it in me. He's coming home, Andy. He's coming home.
This time more than any other time. Time? Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, I hope you're right. Yeah. Country bloody needs it, that's for sure.
It definitely does. It definitely does.
Yeah, a bit of unity would be nice.
Yeah. But no, thank you both for your time. It's been brilliant. Thanks for spending some time with us. Thank you, Andy. And Andy, we're going to leave you with another play of David Sullivan himself.
Good old
waving farewell. See you soon. Come on, Lions.